Hey Gearheads, and welcome to GT Garage Talk, a discussion about all things automotive. I am your host, Corey, and this week I have a special guest with me. He's a recurring guest. He is one half of the Texas Truck Channel duo. It is the one, it is the only Bryan Raupe. How's it going, sir?
Great, Corey. How are you? Thanks for having me again.
I am quite warm, but I'm sure we'll get into that in a little bit. Gotta love when you get back from vacation and your AC's broke. But we're here to talk about electrification more than anything. But before we get into that, what's going on over there with the Texas Truck Channel? You've been busy.
Oh man, we have been really busy. We've had kind of a nonstop run of press cars, and you have too, I know. And it's honestly, we're just trying to catch up from that. This is actually our first week without a car in quite a while, and that was on purpose. I'll be honest, because we just need the room. And
yeah, I've got my schedule right here. I'm my YouTube schedule's filled up until the 1st of October, and that isn't even including anything from Texas Truck Rodeo or potential auto shows between now and then.
Of course. And yeah, and that's a good point. We'll get into that. Hell, let's get into that right now, actually.
Okay.
We've got State Fair coming up.
Yes.
And I don't know about you, but we always walk away with quite a bit from the State Fair. There's a lot that comes out of that.
Some of my top viewed videos of all time, granted I haven't been doing this that long, 2 years, but top videos of all time came from the State Fair of Texas in the first public showing of the 2022 Toyota Tundra.
Yeah, that was a big one for us too. And in fact, I think you did way better than we did at that. The Tundra for you was awesome. We've had to look at the Houston Auto Show, but that's a side rant. Because more importantly, Corey, we have the Texas Truck Rodeo the weekend following the State Fair. That's going to be awesome.
So tons of truck content coming to both of our channels very soon.
Which is good. That's what we do, and they do well for us. So for anyone listening that may be members of TAWA or regional journalists, the rodeo has moved locations this year. The last, I think it's 3 or 4 years, it's been at Star Hill in Austin, Texas. We have now moved it up to Eagles Canyon Raceway in Decatur, Texas. So that's about an hour from Fort Worth, Dallas area, depending which way you go, northwest. And it's going to be cool. It's actually their off-road track that they don't really advertise. It's funny. You go to their website, they don't mention it. It's bizarre.
It's a hidden gem of theirs.
It is. And it's really a Baja-style off-road course that we've modified for our use. It's going to be a blast. We have obstacles. We have water pits. We have hill climbs, all that fun stuff. So looking forward to that new change. And we've actually added on a video crew to us as well with Eric Ohana, and it's with One Off Productions. It's going to be great. We're going to have a drone. We're going to have car to car. We're going to have B-roll packages. So pretty cool. It's going to be great for any content creators and video creators that come to these events. They're going to have just a great tool to work with there.
Yeah, Eric, obviously a close friend over here at the channel, and he's done a lot of work for us. He has recently got an insanely fast drone that he's like doing aerial acrobatic tricks with, and he can't wait to put it to use out there at Eagles Canyon Raceway. You and I actually spotted some of the coursework out there. You had a 21 Tacoma? 2022 Tacoma in that Lime Rush or Lime Green, whatever it was, and checked out a few of the obstacles out there, and I am beyond stoked for this event.
It's going to be awesome. Can't wait. In fact, I believe that exact truck will be there as well for all of our members to try out on the course. So,
I mean, that truck speaks to me on so many levels. It matches the color shorts I'm actually wearing right now. So, if you know anything about me in bright colors, we get along well.
Oh, Corey, I know. In fact, Craig and I talk about that truck being your color.
Yes.
Lime Rush. We don't even call it by its name. We just call it Corey's color.
Well, coming here to my channel next week is another truck in one of my colors, and that's the Inferno Orange, I believe is the name, Tundra TRD Pro, and I cannot wait to get my hands on that one. I have not sampled a TRD Pro Tundra. I have not even gotten behind the wheel of one with the iForce Max in it, which is their new hybrid twin turbo V6. So really looking forward to getting that out on some of my home turf testing and see how that thing does for us.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I'm actually really jealous about that. That's the color. I'll meet you in the middle. That color is awesome. I love Inferno Orange. And I'm actually just personally curious about your take on the iForce Max.
Hmm.
We have driven it at Rodeo last year,
Hmm.
and it was a pre-production model. And just to be candid, it wasn't ready for
Right.
for the show yet. Toyota even mentioned that they had a few hiccups with it, so we don't think we've really driven it either.
Mhm.
To give it a fair shake, and we've had the non-turbo a few times, and I know you've driven that too. It's great. So I have high hopes for it coming through as well. It's gonna be killer.
Yeah, you just turned in the keys, I believe, to the Lexus LX600, which has the same non-hybrid twin turbo
Right.
V6. And in that application, I absolutely loved it. Didn't mind the sound of it. They've done some internal speaker work to make it sound more tough inside the cab, but it was a good engine. Still thirsty, which I
Oh
know
yeah.
is the whole reason for cutting off 2 cylinders, but very interested to test it out in that Tundra.
Before we hop to electric, I know we're about to park there in a minute, but let's talk about that for a second because you mentioned the piped-in music, not music, engine noise on the LX. Yes, that was absolutely the case. But
Mm,
we had the Tundra, the 1794
hmm.
a few weeks prior, and we both kept saying, "Can someone turn that racket off? It's clearly not coming out of this motor.
Right.
There's no way that this motor is making that sound." So we were actually refreshed that the LX wasn't as out of place. It's still making fake noise, but it was a little more manageable. So
The
let me know
Lexus
how it
team
goes
got a hold
with
of that
your
one.
TRD Pro.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I already have it on the calendar to go visit Barnwell. I just got to find someone to
Yes.
go film with me because I did take the Lexus out by myself, and I'm always advocating always go with the spotter, no matter how well you know course, yada 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 yada. I may have drug a few spots in the Lexus, even with its adaptive ride height. So yeah, I'm finding someone to go with me for the Tundra shoot, but very excited for that one, which kind of segues into it's now hybrid, and I already have a planned short form video shoot in mind for what I'm going to do with this because you and I have both had the exact same truck. Like it went to you a day back with Ford, and then it came to me in the
Hmm.
2022 Ford F-150 Lightning Platinum, extended range, all the bells and whistles, as nice as you can get it. 2022 model was priced at 94. I did go and build in price. I built me a
Hmm.
23 for 99,000 after the price increase.
What's
But
funny is they dropped that truck off on a Tuesday to me, and then Wednesday morning I wake up with the press release about the price hike on the Lightning. I was like, "Oh man, that's great."
yep. So if you didn't get one, sorry, you got to spend
Sorry.
about $5,000 more. But what was your initial take on that? Because I know we'll get into you did a lot of content with that. I did a lot of content with that. If you go to either of
Yeah.
our channels, you'll see Lightning Mania. But what was your honest to goodness like elevator pitch on that one?
Elevator pitch. I liked it. I didn't love it,
Right.
and it's not a criticism of Lightning in general. It's a criticism of the Platinum trim level
Okay.
being so much more expensive than the
Mm,
Lariat. If you go look at a gas powered F-150,
mm-hmm.
if you go from a Lariat to a Platinum, the jump is not 20 plus $1,000 between
Right.
them. And as far as I can tell, Corey, all you're really getting is it says Platinum on the build sheet, and then you get massaging seats, which are awesome. I did like that.
Yes.
Um, and then 22-inch wheels, which I didn't really care for. They were not only big, they also didn't look like great. Part of me was thinking, the Mach 1 Performance Pack has that basket weave,
Right.
the Mustang, really cool looking wheel. Do something cool like that if you're going to spend $20,000 more for a wheel and seats. Um, Other than that, the Lightning stuff was awesome. I don't want to criticize that at all. That part is brilliant. I still stand behind it. The Pro just makes a lot more sense to me, or maybe even an XLT.
Yeah. I was very excited. You and I were both invited out by Ford to test 3 different trim levels out back to back to back. And obviously, if I could just be given one, I'm going with the Platinum, which is what we got for a week. But if I'm buying one, yeah, Lariat is probably where I'm shopping. To be honest, XLT is probably where I'm shopping just because of the price of full-size trucks in
Sure.
general. But yeah, that was a great daily driver. And I'm going to phrase it that way because that is really where all the comments from my content out there, it I cannot go 20 minutes. And I kid you not, I cannot go 20 minutes without getting a comment on some of my content that mentions how it can't tow. And
Oh, same here. Same here.
I addressed that specifically in multiple videos. I said, you know what? Ford makes lots of F-150s. They make a little V6. They make a big V8. They make an electric version. Depending on what your needs are, they make a truck for you. The Raptor can't tow as well as an EcoBoost. There are trade-offs made for off-roading. The Lightning obviously cannot tow for as long as anything else because of electric range and just limitations of the platform. But for a daily driver, pickup trucks are the family vehicle of Texas. You and I see them everywhere. 90% of the trucks that we see, that's maybe being a little too. 80% of the trucks we see probably don't see regular hard work. They are purely.
I think in the half-ton market, let's split the difference. 85% is probably fair.
Yeah.
When was the last time someone in the comment stream who's complaining about towing range towed anything? Very little.
Right.
Very, very little. And in fact, I'm Cory. We're in the same boat. I've had 4 videos on this thing, none of which are about towing on purpose because that video has already been made by several people, and they're not wrong. But I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on something different. And every comment is, "Well, but you can't tow more than 80 miles." And also, I love how the numbers change. At first, it was like 120. Now it's 80.
I'm like, what source is this? Is it TFL? Is it Car and Driver? Who are you quoting? Because 80 is the number I'm getting to.
Yeah, I keep getting that too. And I'm going, well, first of all, you in the comments, I highly doubt you have a towing situation you're even worried about. Mm-hmm. And I could be wrong. People do tow. I understand that. But to your point, Cory, Ford makes a truck for everyone. In fact, Craig and I, when we left that review, we kept saying, God, Ford knows how to make a truck. Mm-hmm. Every time we drive one, whether it's a Maverick, a Ranger, a Super Duty, or an F-150 of any flavor, they've been doing this for a long time. They know exactly what the heck they're doing. Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty of the Lightning. You're talking about the daily. This truck is not intended to be a towing machine. They make that elsewhere. This is a killer daily, and it nailed that stuff. It was really good at that. I'm with you on that completely.
And to go back to that Lexus, I brought it up on purpose earlier. My entire video, I was comparing it to that Lexus because that Lexus is supposed to be the pinnacle of off-road, on-road, luxury, big truck-based vehicle. And I think the Ford in all ways but one, which I didn't really discover until after the reviews were already filmed, just out-luxuried the Lexus. The ride was better because of the added weight of the batteries and that independent rear suspension. The seats were definitely more comfortable. I left with back problems after road tripping that Lexus. I don't know what it was, but I just feel like 90% of the luxuriness of those two vehicles was better in the Ford.
I think it's funny. There's 2 things that I want to disagree with a little bit on there, just because those are just our findings on it. The seats were awesome. You're right about that. They were actually, that was the best part of the Platinum, was probably the seats. Yes. They're really adjustable. I kept thinking Lincoln as I was sitting in it the whole time. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's your 20 grand, Cory. Maybe that's where it's coming from for the Platinum. But the ride granted, it wasn't bad, but we drove the Pro at that Lightning event earlier this summer, back to back with the Platinum. And I'm here to tell you, the Pro rides just right. The independent rear, the 18s, the sidewall, it's just right. The Lightning, and keep in mind, Craig lives in some of the worst roads in Texas in his neighborhood. He could not quit complaining about it. And then I drove it in a lot of urban areas and downtown spots. And I had a few complaints. It wasn't rough, but there were some jolts that I wasn't expecting. Right. That was kind of it, though. Beyond that, my other complaint for the Platinum is that it feels a little bit Fisher-Price in like a few spots in the interior. Not everywhere, but, glove box doors. And like the armrest kept like creaking on us and stuff like that. And again, press car, early production, I'm going to forgive a lot of that because I've never had that in any other Ford pickup, so it's probably a one-off deal. But um, that's when I would kept going. Well, at $100,000, it shouldn't be doing that,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And but to the point on the Lexus, I think the seats are a little polarized and depends on your body type. Craig and I had different opinions there.
Yeah, and it's hard to make a seat that fits everyone. But shoot, when
Right.
you put massaging in it, I kind of forgive all grievances at that point because, yes, massaging seats are a definite win over here at GT
For
Garage
sure.
Talk. But
Hey, I've got a question for you,
okay,
Corey.
okay.
I heard you went and did some things with Lightning. What did you do? Did you run some errands? And what happened with the internet there?
So backpedaling just a little bit. So I found favor with the algorithm gods with a 30-second video showing off a Kia Carnival minivan's folding rear seats and sliding middle seat. Like, just completely viral. I can't explain it. Couldn't replicate it if I tried. I actually have tried. Haven't replicated it.
Luck of the
Like,
draw
yeah,
completely.
16 million views. And with that came a lot of comments about how for some reason, I don't see it. I kind of, well, we'll get into that. But how I reminded so and so of Leonardo DiCaprio. And I'm like, what? Finally, one of my friends posted, I don't have Netflix, a excerpt or a GIF from his latest Netflix show. And yeah, I can see it in that. So, here in my mind, I want to take it as flattery. I grew up watching Titanic and stuff like that, thinking that's the Leo DiCaprio. No, he's older and yeah, he's not who he once was. But anyway, all that to say, I figured, okay, I'm going to lean into it. I've got a truck that has a lot of attention on it. So my wife, my son, and I went shopping. My wife picked out the Trulies as we were walking by, the flavored seltzers, and put them in the cart. And she knew that the point of going to the grocery store on that day was for me to show off the front trunk or frunk of the F-150, which I love additional storage.
Oh, yeah.
I love that you have covered storage without using the bed, without using the cab. Just works out great. And half of the comments on that video are about how the Lightning can't tow. The other half are about the fact that I bought Trulies, and like maybe 1% are about the Leo DiCaprio stuff that I leaned into on that one because I put clips of him from that Netflix show interspersed in there, thinking, I've figured out the formula now. No, apparently just drive an electric truck, drink Trulies, and oh yeah, apparently plastic bags are bad. So there.
Oh, I didn't see that. I just saw the emasculating comments about, about men living in the same home with women and grocery shopping at the same time,
Yeah.
ignoring the fact that your wife is probably filming this.
Right. Yes, she absolutely was holding the camera. My son, who looks incredibly like me, is in the shopping cart. I did get a few comments about how I didn't put him in the truck first, but it was a 100-degree day and probably
Yeah, it's
150 in the truck. So no, I'm not putting him in there until I absolutely have to. So yeah, just oh my goodness. So
That cracked me up.
the comments. It's like,
Corey, I almost wish we could share the screenshots of our conversations to that week. It was cracking me up.
yeah, and the internet is a very interesting place. I did
Yes,
not
it
realize that people were stuck so far in the past that it is embarrassing for men to go grocery shopping. That one's new to me. Like,
I didn't realize that was even a thing.
it's,
I get diesel trucks and guns and the mindset behind that. Whether I'm not saying I agree with that, but I understand where that kind of comes from. I've never even considered that a husband shouldn't grocery shop. Like, what? How does that work? It doesn't make sense.
yeah, apparently I'm supposed to go earn the bacon, and heaven forbid I be
God.
shopping in the middle of the day in my Nike bright colors. I
Or
gotta
it was truly amazing, I have to say.
Yeah. So going back to the Tundra, I am absolutely going to do a callback to that lightning video with the Tundra. So
Yes.
stay tuned to my social media. That will be coming out. Very excited for it. Hey, if I could get a Truly sponsorship out of this, I've given them quite a lot of press. I don't know if it's good press, but I think I've given them about as much as I've given Ford with the front trunk on the F-150 Lightning. And it's surprising, we live in the business, we live and breathe vehicles. It's surprising how many people are like in total and utter shock that there's no engine under the hood, which is what I was going
Right.
for. But yeah,
I don't get that. Honestly, I'm glad you highlighted it because the frunk is the best part of that thing. After spending a week with it, and actually, I had the thing because of scheduling of what we were trying to do with it. Craig didn't even have it. He never took it home.
wow.
He came to film it. He's driven it before.
Yeah.
He drove it several times, but he never took it to his house because he's so far away, and I needed it back for other things. I had it for 7 days and realized the frunk is the most rewarding part of that. It's great. It's now I'm giving it more room for more people, and I think that when you get to the Tundra, you should just instead of Trulies, maybe switch it up, go to White Claw, and see if you can stuff under the hood, see if it makes it home, just for the heck of it. Why not?
Yeah, we shall see. We shall see. But oh my goodness! So a few days later, after shooting that, like that was like the one and only clear day that we had the truck. It rained the rest of the time we had it, which I guess is fitting for the Lightning name.
Of course.
And like I did what I could with all the rain noise as I was driving it for my reviews. But there was one day I went to go pick up groceries from curbside, and she like had me pull up as close to the building as I could, and she's about to walk it to the back of the truck, and I open the front, and I'm like rolling down the window. No, in the front, in the front. And she kind of looks at me weird, like, no, trust me, I know what I'm doing. And just the smiles that lifting the hood up and showing off the trunk gave. There were several comments about how emasculating that is too, but let's drag race. That's all I gotta say. You want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Let's drag race and see where we go there.
I don't know, but I probably shouldn't even get into this, but I did some hypothetical, had a hypothetical experience with a Ram TRX,
Okay.
and it was surprising, very, very surprising. Just going to
Interesting.
put it that way. The Lightning is very, very, very quick.
Yes,
So
it is.
really pleased with that. Go look at the numbers on that, compare them. It's you know, and look, I'm not a defender of EV by any means. I'm really not. I love to light things on fire and spin tires and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is, we are going this direction. I understand that. And at least we have a redeeming quality. They're stupid fast.
Yes.
Now, I'm really eager to make them engaging and enjoyable, fun to drive beyond just a drag car. So I'm curious to see what happens there. And I think, of all people, I think Dodge might be the one to save the EV by making some type of mechanical sound into an exhaust and some type of transmission. That may be what makes it work. But look, this is version 1. We'll see where it goes. It's only going to get faster from here. That's the best part.
So, speaking of faster, what all have you done with the Ford Lightning? Because you kind of made ripples and waves in the arena of what you actually did, because no one other than a Ford employee had really done it. And
yeah, this was. I think you're talking about the dyno session that we had, Corey. This was. For those who don't know, a dynamometer is a tool that you put a vehicle on. You can spin the wheels on it and measure the power output at the wheels. So traditionally on a gas engine, say it's rated at 400 horsepower, that's at the flywheel, not at the tire. And so when you start modifying cars, you start making changes to them in the aftermarket, or if you're just doing emissions testing, you would use a tool like this. And typically you would lose power from the flywheel to the wheel in a traditional gas configuration. So we go to look into it, and it turns out no one has dynoed this yet because the wheelbase is so long. It's 145.5 inches long, and most all-wheel dynos stop at 125 inches in length. And as you know, Corey, it's a dual motor EV.
right
So you have to run both axles at the same time.
under load.
Under load, exactly. That was the other part we ran into as well. And I'll get into that in just a second. But basically what happened was we tried to do hub dynos. And just a little, to be honest, I spent 3 months coordinating this to make this happen. I spoke with different manufacturers. I spoke to different shop. Every tuning shop within 500 miles, I had a conversation with. The closest option was going to be Albuquerque.
Wow.
And come to find out, after talking to the manufacturer Dynocom, who we ended up working with, they informed me that a hub dyno never would have worked because the weight of the Lightning is just too much. It would have just burned the bearings up on the machine and probably wouldn't have made it through the round of dyno testing. So really glad we didn't drive all the way out there for that. That would have been terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
so
I wouldn't have gotten my Lightning.
no, yeah. Well, and then Ford might have been pretty upset if we, dropped their truck off a dyno. That would have been a problem.
Yeah.
So, there's that. But anyways, you go online to any vehicle and they're dynoed immediately. If it's rear-wheel drive or traditionally on trucks in the past, you would run it in two-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm.
So you would run just the back wheels. So look up any crew cab, short bed or long bed F-150 dyno video, and it's just in two-wheel drive and the front wheels are hanging off the chassis. So we reached out to Dynocom and they were great. They wanted to work with us and they were so excited to have it. That they actually made a custom chassis dyno for this.
Wow.
So they actually took a unit that is an in-ground dual motor shaft driven. So there's a drive shaft that connects the front roller and the back roller to keep them in sync. Well, historically, that's a belt drive. Mm-hmm. And the problem with a belt drive with this high of a torque load is that they'll get out of sync very easily if one motor is spinning more than the other. So it had to be shaft drive. And then to make it work, they made about a 1.5 foot extension on the drive shaft and added a carrier bearing and all this crazy stuff to make it happen. Couldn't thank them enough. They were awesome. They brought in their lead engineer who doesn't even come into the shop very often. He came in just for this. And I'll tell you, we had about 30 runs of calibration. It took a long time to figure it out. And one of the problems they had was that the truck was spinning in the tires so fast because the torque comes in so quickly. Based on a normal configuration of the dyno, there's not a ramp that made sense with that power delivery. So the vehicle was going from 0 to 60 because all the wheels are spinning on these rollers immediately, not like quickly, immediately. And so then the stability control freaked out, even though we had it turned off and cut power. And you can see if you go watch our video, we kind of explain this a little bit, but it would dip and then about 70 miles an hour, it would kick back in and rip all the way to 107, which was the wheel speed limit on that particular unit. So anyways, we luckily Dynocom they had the tech to do basically a virtual rolling road. They used something called an eddy brake to apply electricity to drag on the rollers. So the truck thinks it's actually on the ground. And it was cool, Corey, because they used drag coefficient of the truck and they used the weight of the truck, and their software simulated the road force restriction as if it was driving on a road. And it worked brilliantly. It was smooth from there on out. Went all the way to max speed, and it was killer. And, we were the first people in the world to dyno this thing outside of Ford. We're pretty proud of that. And, it's just pretty cool to be a part of something like that with a group like that. So really happy to have it done and have a team like Dynocom was willing to make it happen. Without them, it never would have gotten done at all.
Practically in your own backyard. You said you were scouring 500-mile radiuses and practically right there with you.
Yeah, they're in Fort Worth. They're probably half an hour from door to door from our operation here. So worked out great. In fact, we may have more coming from them in the future. So if anybody has any requests for things on the road, we can look into that. But I will say the drive shaft extension was a very custom thing and something they would not sell to anyone. They basically said it is not rated for shop use or consumer use. So just really happy to have that work out. It was cool. I got to tell you, and hearing that, and you can go watch the video, the whole experience is there, but just hearing it run, EVs aren't totally silent.
No.
There is some motor spinning sounds. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. As soon as you dropped that video, I had to go and watch it because you had alluded to me the day you were shooting of the fact that it was coming and that you had to do multiple calibration runs and all that. So that
sure.
You didn't just pull up and run it a couple times and go home. But very, very exciting stuff. Looks like your video and that content got picked up on several major outlets. So that's been pretty awesome to watch as well. Just seeing outlet after outlet realize, okay, so somebody actually did something nobody outside of Ford has done yet.
It was pretty cool. Honestly, it's one thing I've learned, Corey, is that's the coolest part for me is I've never had something picked up organically. We notified a few outlets of what we had done. I think 2 in total, and that was it. And then it's gone off to, I lost count, but I think we've got 8 or 9 different outlets that have put something out about it. And which is exciting. It's nice to have something carried like that. And look, it was a lot of preparation. And we were in that dyno bay for almost 7 hours. I mean, it was a full day making that thing happen. We actually broke some straps. I mean, we pulled out rivets out of the ground because this thing had so much torque on rolling. And so it was pretty exciting. It was really cool to have it come together. But yeah, that's what happened there. And we, like you said, Drive picked it up. I think Motor Authority picked it up. A few other outlets did. But there's an anomaly, Corey, that we have learned.
Oh, yeah?
It turns out EV owners aren't as excited about dynos as supercharged Hellcat owners might be.
Nope.
So, the video is doing well, but it's not blowing up like I think it could have.
Yeah.
For example, if we were the first people to dyno, the Shelby GT500, that would have gone viral immediately because there's an existing community that knows what a dyno is there. So we've actually had to educate some here. And look, I'll put it out now. You can go watch the video for the full results, but it exceeded its torque numbers by a fair amount, and the horsepower was down less than 3%. So I was talking to you a minute ago about the drivetrain loss from motor to tire. Well, since this thing is mounted on the hub, on the axle, 3% loss is incredible. Yeah. That is a massive discovery. That's the biggest thing I walked away with, was how much wasn't lost in the process. Really cool.
So what's got me salivating is I don't even know how much I've talked to you about this, but GMC has recently approved GT Garage Talk to start receiving vehicles. And there's been a little bit of conversation back and forth there. Nothing's been promised, but I'm putting this out there, in the ether so that it does happen. But, I made mention, I've got, 8 million, almost 9 million views on this Lightning video. I was like, I've already got my Hummer EV video. Wheels are already turned, and I know exactly how I'm going to make that one go viral because there seems to be a formula. White Claws or Trulies will be involved. As will some insane off-roading because we have access to an amazing off-road park out here. And so that'll kind of answer some of the backlash that I got with the Lightning. But I am pushing hard for a Hummer EV press loan. I am not holding my breath, but I'm just putting this out there. So all you listeners out there, let's make this happen. Let's will this to happen, because if I could get that on and dyno, the Hummer EV has notoriously had the strangest marketing push in how they advertise their torque.
It's bizarre.
Yeah,
I think LeBron James has been the plan, and that's about it.
Yeah, something like 11,000 pound-feet of torque or something.
Okay, I can elaborate on this a little bit if you'd like.
Yeah.
That torque number.
Yeah.
We ran into this with Alpha as well. You were there at the Tenale deal in Dallas. They were saying 1,800 foot-pounds of torque. Well, they're being a little cheeky there, because when we measured the Lightning, at one point we saw 16,000 foot-pounds of torque. And apparently that's true, but that's not how people measure conventional gas motors, because there's a lot of gear multiplication making that happen.
Right.
You can have a 4-cylinder 2-liter motor non-turbo with the right gearing and get the same rate. So I don't quite fully understand it. In fact, next time we do a dyno video, we'll probably get into that with the lead engineer. But he was explaining to me that, if you take the raw figure and don't correct anything, that's exactly what it is. That's true. So that I'm not saying Hummer is lying about that at all.
Right.
It's just the context isn't really there. So, because we could have done the same thing. Trust me, it crossed my mind. Oh, clickbait, 16,000 foot-pounds of torque on the Ford Lightning. We couldn't do it. It's a far cry from 700 plus. So.
Darn ethics, It's just,
I know, man, what a bummer.
Buzzkill.
But hey, I hope that happens, Corey. And by the way, just so people know, I am so jealous you have Barnwell. That is a cool thing to have down the road. And we have a gas well pad in our neighborhood that we've made the best of, but it's short and sweet. And I will tell you, the Lightning made that, and there is a massive skid plate under that thing to keep that battery from getting punctured. And trust me, that crossed my mind, and we checked that before we went up. I was terrified about that.
Oh my goodness. I'm just So excited for both of our channels. I'm excited for what the future holds, the very near future for both of us, because we do have the State Fair and Texas Truck Rodeo coming up. A lot of moving parts on both of those. Manufacturers usually wait till the last minute to really start divulging details on both auto shows and coming to our truck rodeo event. But what, be as vague as you'd like, what are you most looking forward to?
Oh man, I hate to be as look.
I
We
gave
have a
you
lot of
that.
brands that are confirmed,
Yeah.
but I can't really say what's going to be there.
Yeah.
I'm obviously excited about the track. That's going to be the coolest thing because it's something new for us and totally different setting. I'm also very excited to see what a particular domestic brand brings because we've had some hints and I legitimately don't know, but I'm curious about what's going to show up there because I think it might be some first exposure opportunities.
And
That's it, Corey. That's all I want to say.
that has me salivating all the more. Like, as we sit here, you and I are a week away from the Detroit Auto Show. I just got an email today from General Motors, specifically Buick and GMC, who are a subfamily unto themselves. And the Buick Wildcat EV style concept will be there, and the GMC Canyon will be there. And with the success I've had with some short form video here lately, I'm like, man, I could make it worth my while just go there and get some short form content and be out of there. So, gearheads, let me know. Do I need to book a plane ticket to Detroit? Is there something you would want to see, or shall we just wait until Bryan and I can actually drive them in early October?
Man, trust me, I've had the same calculation this week. Do I jump on a plane and go to Detroit? I don't think I can pull it off. I've got too many commitments here, unfortunately, but I really want to go because there's also the seventh Gen Mustang will be unveiled, which may very well be the last ICE only unveiling.
Right.
Maybe. We'll see.
We
See what
shall
actually comes
see.
up this time.
So, all of that rolled into one has got me very tempted.
Look, if I'm voting, I say go for it. Do I count as a viewer
Yeah,
or listener?
the one big problem for me that is holding me back is that is the week I have the Tundra. And so that's taking away from Tundra time, which
Right.
I've driven Tundras before, but not on my home turf, not free reign. So there's that. And as far as getting out to Barnwell, there's a very small window of time that I can actually get out there and
Right.
beat all the Jeep guys out there because if a Jeep club shows up, I'm out of luck. I'm going to be waiting in line. I'll be out there all day and get 30 seconds of footage. So
Right. With a lot
it's
of people in the background.
Yeah.
It's a Jeep thing, Corey. We wouldn't get it. Oh, wait, you would. Your wife would get it.
yes,
Y'all are in that club.
yes. But yeah, that is the dilemma I face is do I pull the trigger? Do I buy the plane ticket? Because I think the Mustang may be like the thing that knowing
Yeah, that's gonna
again
be the
how
anchor,
my
I think.
short form content has really picked up here lately. I'm like, that may do it for me. So there will be a discussion with the wife. I've got 7 days to make the decide before I fly up north and see how that goes.
Well, if you make it, I hope you make it to the Renaissance Center. It's pretty. The whole area is cool. It's a good city.
All right. Well, that about wraps it up for our main episode. If you've got a little extra time, we'll hang back and maybe spill some tea on some other things that you and I have been working on that haven't gone live to the public yet for our Patreon members behind the paywall. You can access the aftermarket at patreon.com/GTGarageTalk. $5 a month tier gets you access to all my aftermarket segments where I talk further with each week's guest. But Bryan, thank you so much for joining me this week, talking a little bit of trucks, talking mostly lightning, and looking forward to seeing some more content from y'all.
Hey, thanks for having me, Corey. I appreciate it. And curious to see what happens with you next week in Detroit.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
not.
yeah. So if you want to check out Bryan and what his brother Craig are doing, head on over to texastruckchannel.com, correct?
That's correct.
And that gives you links to everything they do. But with that, I will, if I can find the button on the soundboard here, you know where to find us and all that we do. Just head on over to gtgaragetalk.com. That gives you links to everything: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. And until next time, gearheads, bye.